Um, I don't know, dude. It's a deck. It's a Traptrix deck. I'm bored. To start off the list, three of these Murmello. I might mess up the names, but three Murmello searches a trap hole, normal summon, and MST's a back row and special summon. Then through Mantos, normal summon. It's a Stratos of the deck basically. It just adds Traptrix and quick effect. You can return a back row to the hand or a back row from the field to the hand to set a back row from your hand, so avoid stuff like Dianea. 3 Pudica. These are mandatory 3-0s. You don't play any less than 3. This adds the Garden, and on special summon, it will banish an opponent's special summon monster until the next standby phase. So what you can do is you can have a set trap hole, then trap hole, and then comes back. Yeah, it's a combo with it with that and Holotea. 3 Arachnocampa. It's a good extender. If you control Traptrix, you can special summon it from the hand. You are insect and plant locked, so you can't go into Baguska the turn you make this, or any other rank 4 besides a Traptrix or Link. 2 Dianea, it's a reborn on normal summon, and on special summon, it can reset a trap hole from the graveyard, but it gets banished during the in phase of the turn after you set it. 1 Vesiculo, it's fodder, really. You summon it just because, and I guess it can, like, send a face down, whatever. 1 Garden. Some people play 2, but I feel like to play the non-engine ratios that I wanted, I could only have 1 Garden and Arachnocampa, forgot to mention, but it does protect your back row, so they have to Cosmic Cyclone it if Arachnocampa is up. Or just have a Lightning Storm and a Feather Duster. 3 Holotea, have to play this at 3. Nothing less than 3. You can activate a turn set by discarding a normal trap, and special summons itself as a monster with, I believe, 400 attack and 2400 defense, but it's got to summon itself in defense, so it's good. And if it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to special summon a Traptrix. That's the combo with Pudica. So you just banish this, Pudica, banish. Special monster. 2 Gravediggers Trap Hole. Some people play 1. I like to play 2. Phone's a little zoomed in, but I like to play 2 because what I like to do is once you Dianea reset something, don't activate Sarah's effect. Wait to make Rafflesia, so just in case if they want to ash you, you can detach Rafflesia to send this from deck to grave. And I've drawn it when I would need to do that. So, yeah. It's also good against Furniture Labyrinth, too. Or anything that activates from the hand. 1 Whole Nightmare. If you're only playing 3 structure decks, you play 2 of these. But if you're playing this version with Imperm and Valor, yes, we're playing Valor. We're not playing Ghostmourner. We're playing Valor. This version, you only play 1. It's just if an opponent's supposed to summon monster, it has to be supposed to summon the turn. You can activate it to negate and destroy its effect once it activates. 1 Time Space. This one you have to buy separately to buy secondhand market, more than likely. But it says when your opponent's supposed to summon monsters or monsters from the extra deck, so Pendulum Summon, you can shuffle those into the extra deck and take 1,000 damage for each. So you're usually only taking 1,000. So yeah, it's I mean it's alright. It's a summon trap hole. We only play 1 of the summon destruction trap holes. 1 Bottomless, classic card. I used to always run this, like when I first started. I used to always run it at least 1 because it's funny. You should know what Bottomless does, but if you don't, when your opponent summons a monster with 1,500 more attack, you destroy the monster, and if you do, banish it. Fairly old card. 1 Floodgate Trap Hole. I think this one's fairly old too. But when your opponent special summons a monster or monsters, so Pendulum Summon, it can get this again. I got somebody in Master Duel with this. whenever I had Traptrix constructed. It's, by the way, for Master Duel, you're gonna have to pay. You cannot grind to get Traptrix all the extra deck or URs, and it's annoying. But when your opponent special summons a monster or monsters, you can flip them face down, and they cannot be flipped face up except by a card effect. So they have to like Book of Taiyu. No, nobody's running Book of Taiyu. One terrifying Hold Nightmare, terrifying Trap Hold Nightmare. If your opponent's special summons a monster this turn, target one with 2,000 or more attack. Destroy it? Yes, destroy it. Then if you have a whole normal trap in your graveyard, you can banish one monster from your opponent's graveyard, so it stops graveyard stuff. For your non-engine, 3 Ash Blossom. It's generic. I know some people are saying side Ash, but hear me out. So my theory is Ash is so generic that you want to mainboard it. Usually you are siding it out though. So do with that what you will. Play Ash, don't play Ash. It's kind of a dilemma. 2 Valor. This is a budget hand trap. If you want a hand trap on the cheap, Valor is it. It comes in common, comes in the Albash structure deck, comes in quite a bit of structure decks, actually. Yeah. It's pretty cheap, but budget hand trap, just saying. 1 Pot of Prosperity. I actually didn't play it when it was at 3. Funny thing, I just never could find the room for 3. Now it's at 1, it's easier to play. We can fit it in the deck easier. And yeah, you just banish 3 or 6, activate 3 or 6, add 1 to hand. All damage your opponent takes is half for the turn. Should I explain Ash Blossom? Yeah, I'll go ahead. I forgot to explain this. Ash Blossom just if your opponent would touch the deck, it negates. Effect Valor, only on the opponent's turn, discard, negate a monster effect. Okay. 1 Call Die, stop hand traps, banish a card from the graveyard, get it in graveyard decks. 1 Talent. If opponent activates a monster effect, so punishing hand traps, but not necessarily stopping the hand trap. You can draw 2 cards, take control of an opponent's monster for a turn, or you can look at your opponent's hand and shuffle 1 into the deck. Good, but I could only find room for the 1. 3 Infinite Impermanence. It's good. Just general. This is just like extra copies of Valor. Negate a monster effect, activate it from the hand if you control no cards. And if you set it and activate it, it locks a spell and trap zone. Or it doesn't lock it, just anything goes in there is negated. Essentially locked. Yeah, it's good. It comes in the Fire King structure deck, the commons that I play because I traded my others. It's a stupid idea. Whatever. This is about $5. Should be able to get it. And if you get the Traptrix structure deck, you will get the last card in the deck, the Evenly Matched. This is good. This is better than Raigeki. I've seen some people play Raigeki over this. No, you play this over Raigeki. If you control and face-up cards, you can activate from your hand. At the end of the battle phase, your opponent would banish cards equal to the amount you control. Good. You can also discard these 2 for Holotea if you need to. So, like, if you're going first, you can draw Evenly Matched Holotea. Set Holotea. Activate by discarding evenly, because it just has normal trap. It's the main deck. Let me pick everything up, and we'll get into the extra deck. While I'm picking everything up, I would appreciate it if you liked and or subscribed, but hey, who knows, the camera quality might turn out bad, and I might not deserve it, but it would be appreciated if you did. There will be a combo section of the video. Since Traptrix combos are so simple, I can fit it in with a deck profile. Usually I don't do combos, and I'm just like, go watch somebody else, but these ones are very, very simple, so I feel like I can fit them in. Alright, to the extra deck. 3 Sarah, mandatory. Best card in the deck, I think. If your Traptrix monster effect activates, you can set a whole normal trap from the deck. That includes Holotea. or if you activate a normal trap, any normal trap, impermanence will set it off too. You can special summon the Traptrix from the deck. Can only use each once per turn. 800 attack on a link one. It's the best card. And you use our next card to protect it. Traptrix Rafflesia. This used to be the old boss monster. I still consider it the boss monster. Air quotes boss monster. All these are unaffected by traps. Any traps, by the way. Traptrix unaffected by whole traps. So you'll see later. I'll explain. Well, I just said that. You can detach an Xyz material to send a trap hole card from your deck, only your deck, to the graveyard, and this card becomes that, so you can use your trap holes on the first turn. That's what I mean. Make this in Gravediggers if they try to Ash the Sarah. So, and it also protects your other Traptrix from destruction by battle or card effects, except itself. It makes your board very sticky and hard to break through. It's a very good card. You played it 2. I've seen some people play it at 3. Like if you bought 3 structure decks, you play 3 of these. Yeah. 1 Adipose. This is the real boss monster of the deck, I think. It's very good. So turn 1, if you get it set up, okay, negate all your opponent's stuff. That'd be turn 2. Turn 3, you go into this and you try to go for game. That's the plan. So, while you have a normal trap in your graveyard, all Traptrix you control gain 1,000 attack. This is huge. This thing, 2,800. It gets better though. So, you can target cards, not just monster, cards your opponent controls equal to the number of insect and plants, I believe. I don't think it's just Traptrix. Negate their effects, then you can banish a normal trap from your graveyard to destroy one. Very good card. 1 Pinguic. I'm not even trying. It's called Ping. It's a Rhoda for the deck. Walking Rhoda. You can detach 1 to add a Traptrix. It's also unaffected. So, cool thing is you can turn it into a towers. So when a monster goes to your opponent's graveyard, you can attach his material, and it's unaffected by the activated effects of monsters with the same type as its overlay units. So say my opponent trolled me, since troll's inside deck, I would have Pinguicula. I would be unaffected by spellcasters. And it's already unaffected by insects, mostly insects and plants, so if you're playing against a plant player, that could be useful. But you're really not going for it, you like to have it, though. These next 2 are just something I like. If you're playing more than locals, I would recommend cutting these 2 for whatever the meta is at the time, but it's Calaria and Alamiris. People say it's bad, but I've had these things come up in like more than 1 game before, so I'd say they're useful. Calaria, every time you activate a trap hole, once per turn, you can have the choice of resetting it instead of sending it to the graveyard. Then during the end phase, it can special summon Traptrix from the graveyard in defense position. And Slink 2, that's what it does. And Alamiris, old Traptrix card. It's unaffected by trap effects. You can detach 2 materials from this card, special summon 1 level 4 or lower insect or plant monster from your graveyard. If your opponent's monster leaves the field because of card effect and is now in the graveyard or banished, except during the damage step, you can attach 1 material to this card and target 1 of them special summon to your field. I think these 2 are still useful. They have their use cases. Alamiris can get you into Calaria sometimes, but they're not super useful. If you're going to like regional higher, cut them for whatever's good against the meta. And for the non-Traptrix, Baguska. Amazing. Just kind of shuts off the whole field. And since you're playing links, if you have a field of Adipose and Baguska, that feels crazy. It's crazy. So if you open more back row, but you're able to make a Sarah, and for some reason you're still able to make a rank 4, you can go into Baguska instead of Rafflesia. It's a decently strong end board, I'd say. But yeah, it self-destructs after like 2 standby phases, though. But you cannot make this if you use Arachnacampa. I remember first week this structure that came out, people were doing that. No, you can't because you're in second plant lock. Next up, Abyss Dweller for graveyard decks. Just you get the odd graveyard deck if you're going to high tournament or higher than locals level tournament. This thing destroys it. One Redoer, just fringe case. It comes up. You can cut it, but I think it comes up quite a bit. It's a walking compulse. That's all you want it for in the deck. So you would use Holutea and a Traptrix to make it walking compulse. It sends to the top of the deck. One Zeus is next up. This card maybe isn't budget, but if you're going off just buying stuff from, I don't know, Walmart, you can get this out of the 2-player starter set, so it's relatively available. It dropped in price because of the reprint just a little bit, but you probably just have to get Zeus second hand. And the last 2 cards, I really like them. I think you should run them. 1 access code. The deck, even with Adipus, still needs help going for game. It's not an offensive deck or offensive deck by any, well, offensive maybe. That's a little bit controversial. Artwork, I mean, you've seen it throughout the whole video, but it just helps it go for game, really. 1 Underworld Goddess. We're not playing any kaiju, so you need something to out towers. You need something to out towers. That, and it's a towers itself, and it just kind of dark rulers the entire opponent's field. I mean, just their monsters. Everything, so I would say absolutely run it in your Traptrix deck. Anyways, the side deck before the combos. Your side deck, if you're following my list completely, will be the redraw. I mean, situational, but if you're going up against Hero Fluanderies, it's good. So, take it from the Hero main. I've been destroyed by draw multiple times. It sucks, but yeah. Ghost Spell. Graveyard decks, negation. Or just doesn't stun them, but it hurts them. Also, good stuff that spells summons from the graveyard. Basically, they touch the graveyard and it can negate that effect. Next up is 2 Dark Ruler. Breaking boards. I have a plant player. I have 2 plant players in my locals. Mostly in the summer, I have 2 plant players. I need this card. I need this card. Okay? You don't deal any battle damage, but that's not a problem for this deck. Because you Dark Ruler the field. You set up your things without problem. Then I just go from there. 2 Thrust. It works differently in this deck than Heroes. You side it for when you know you're going first, so that you can set Dimensional Bear or the Black Goat last. This card's expensive. It's still about $20. So, budget options. Torrential Tribute, maybe? I mean, there's not a card that does what it does. So that's Thrust is expensive too, but it did get a reprint, so it's not as expensive in the reprint. If y'all aren't able to get it, though, you can pick up another copy of Talents, and then maybe you just use another copy of Dark Ruler. For the last card, Solemn Judgment, you don't want to get even lead yourself, so it's good. Raigeki, monster removal is better against this deck than spell and trap removal. It's not like Labyrinth. You want to remove monsters, not spells and traps, so Solemn Judgment, it's good. It also negates monster summons, so if you have a Pendulum player, do those people even exist? Probably not, but if you run into one, it's good against them. Anyways, short little combo. Basically, this deck hardly bricks. Hardly. So, I mean, Murmello plus any normal trap is going to use evenly can get you to something decent. So Murmello, add, just sifting through the deck here, add Holutea, link Murmello for Sarah, set Holutea, discard that. If it's a trap hole, which just go under the assumption it's bottomless, okay? You summon that. Summon Dino. Like I said, just go under the assumption it's bottomless. This is not evenly, this is bottomless. Because you have more trap holes. But if it's trap hole, reset it. If it's not, whatever, it's a mandatory activation. So you can activate Sarah again to set a whole normal trap. So I like to have a negation trap hole in the field, and this one's more generic. So set that. Rafflesia. Pass. This is your end board. This is your graveyard. This is your end board. And it is, well, summon disruption under what I said. Possible negation and summon destruction. Get something. Negation. It's good. Cheap deck. Anything. You want to get to these two. If you can, get to those two. If you can't, end on, I don't know, Sarah. Sarah and Garden's still good. Sarah and Garden's still good. Even ending on just Rafflesia is good. Well, good in the sense that you just couldn't build an end board. But it's just a small little 2-card combo that you're likely to open. It's also why we run Vesiculo, so if you don't want to set Dynamite and it's evenly matched, you can summon Vesiculo as, like, just rank 4 fodder. That's it.